Hi.
Are you still part of the no cur or no heat curl club?
Well, for today, I had to do my curls. So today there was a little heat, but I put heat protectant and I feel like I'm okay.
Yes. What is the process when there's no heat?
Like just wet. I just leave the house with wet hair and
Wow.
then just little scrunch and no drying, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. In the summer, I'm all about the curl
Yes.
because I'm
Well,
swimming
you have
all of the
perfect
time.
curls.
Well, I don't think so, but thank you. Yes.
I think with
Anyway,
menopause or perimenopause, like it's gone. My curls aren't as defined anymore. I don't know. It's the thing.
did your hair change when you were pregnant?
I'm trying to think. I know my body changed a lot.
Well,
I don't
totally.
remember. I don't remember my hair changing. No,
hmm
I just noticed like recently during perimenopause, my hair, the curls are different. And it's just
Mm,
like the hair's a little thinner. And so I'm just like,
yes.
okay, this is just another part of the process, part of
Oh,
the
there's
journey.
so many parts of the process.
Yes. There is.
What else have you noticed?
Well, see, I've been on bioidentical for 9 years. So
Okay.
I would say I'm very fortunate because the planning of just like the second I had, side effects of, hot flashes or depression, I just immediately went to try to figure out what was going on. So
Mhm.
now I just don't have as much symptoms because I'm on replacement. So it's a little
Mm,
different now, but a little like the hair, skin change, it's age, skin
yeah,
changes,
yeah.
that's just, you can't, it's just the joys of getting older. So
So I will I'll pick up the recording a bit
yeah,
back because I do want this is part of the conversation that I
yeah.
want to have where we are at this moment in time with our bodies, with our hair, with all of us. So you mentioned something that I just picked up on. You said back 9 years ago, you started on bioidentical. Why 9 years ago? What was going on then that your doctor said or you decided?
Well, initially I started having just severe depression
Mm,
to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't figure it out. I was always very happy. And then all of a sudden I just started getting really depressed. I was having sleep issues. And I initially went to my doctor and he said, oh, well, let's go to the, psychiatrist. That's where you
mhm,
initially go. They refer you. And the psychiatrist says, gosh, you have all the symptoms of bipolar. I mean, this
mm,
is, I'm 38 and all of a sudden I'm bipolar. I'm going, okay, I don't really understand this diagnosis, but you just go, okay, I'm severely depressed. I'm having, the hot flashes I didn't really explain. It was more just severe anxiety and severe depression.
mhm,
And then so I went down this road of all this medication to treat the depression, but then I was still depressed.
mm.
So I finally, after 6 months, I'm going, if I'm on all this medication and I still can't, I'm not sleeping very well, I'm on all these sleep aids, I'm still depressed. This doesn't seem like the right diagnosis.
Mhm.
And he didn't really understand the world of hormones. And so I went to a functional medicine doctor. And the first thing he said to me is, you are not bipolar. You are not bipolar. He's like, I almost can guess that you have no hormones and you're in the journey of perimenopause.
Mm,
And he said, when did your mom start? I said, oh, she started around 43. He said, well, you're 38. You could
mhm,
be, she might have not known it's 10 years before.
mhm,
You could be in it right now. And so I did all the tests and I had zero hormones,
mm.
zero in every category.
None of your sex hormones. So your
Nothing. Progesterone
progesterone,
zero,
yeah.
testosterone zero, no estrogen.
Mhm,
He's like, you have nothing. So he said, what I would recommend is to start bioidentical hormones, which is the most natural form. And I trusted him. It took about 6 months. I weaned myself off all the medications very carefully because I was on just so many. It's really depressing and
mhm,
sad that someone
mhm,
would put me on so many medications. So I had to get off Ambien. I had to get off all these other strong medications. So it took about a year of weaning off, maybe 6 months completely off, but still just taking my time. So I'd say the hormones, it worked pretty quickly, and it was like a whole new life.
So sadly, this is not uncommon, right, for women. And unfortunately, I think the way a lot of our doctors have learned and the training they've received, it does not take into consideration menopause and perimenopause, right? Through no fault of their own. It's just not part of the curriculum,
No.
right? But to be so young and to go to a doctor and not even have them say, oh, it could be your hormones.
Mhm.
Like,
Not
yeah,
one person said to me, you should check your hormone. Just not one doctor, no one said anything about hormone health. And I was 38 and I just thought, how could this be depression? But I trusted someone. I trusted a doctor.
right.
I trusted the diagnosis at that moment. Uh, and and now I realize kind of the years that I lost in my life on that medication, because it really put a lot of, it wreaked havoc on my gut.
Yeah.
It was just, and the severity of the depression, I think also a lot of people, I don't think people talk about it with or just the lack of hormones. I mean, it was really, I was rock bottom. And the first thing is pump me up with as much medication so we can get you out of the house, get you parenting. Let's just pump you up.
Yeah.
And it was just the opposite. It
Yeah.
was the opposite.
It kept you down. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
I've known you. I mean, full disclosure here,
Yeah.
Danielle and I go way back, and you've always been a go-getter and out there, highly energetic and
Mm-hmm.
always doing something. So to be in that place where
No,
you can't get out of bed and you had young
no.
kids. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I don't talk about my situation, but I was at the point where I had to put myself in a mental hospital because I didn't have any control of what I was going through. So
Mm,
I was going through all this severe anxiety and depression, but I had no support from the medication. So I wasn't, I was scared for my safety. And so
yeah.
after being in a hospital for, I mean, the longest I was, I mean, about 10 days
Mm,
and this isn't like a hospital or it's a spa. This is like people with other mental health issues. And I'm sitting there going, I just don't feel this is a place for me, but I don't know what to do because I'm at such a rock bottom with my depression. I need safety. I need a place that I can be safe. Uh, so I think if it could happen to me, it could happen to anybody. I mean, I have my master's in counseling education. I have a family, I have all the resources. I just had no one telling me that that level of depression could be your hormones.
So what was that moment? What shifted? Because clearly it wasn't working, right? You knew that.
Mhm.
But was it divine intervention? Was it somebody else? Was it just your knowing you where you're like, "Oh, I got to try something else."
I think, after being in some of these places, these facilities, you're around a lot of sick people, and it's so sad. And I just remember I was in a hospital, and I said, there has to be something else. This is not my story. This is not my ending. This is not, I am going to fight. I am going to fight to get out of the quicksand. I'm going to figure out what this is. So I got out and I made an appointment right away. And what's interesting is my psychiatrist, I never told him that I was seeing a functional medicine doctor because he put a lot of fear in me that, oh, you're bipolar and you could have another manic episode and you better be careful. So I went to him for a full year, once a week for a full year, unmedicated, just so I could feel like, okay, I have a support just in case there was that fear in me that he put in me. So the last day I went to him, I'll never forget. And I said, I want to tell you something. I've been on bioidentical for the last year and I feel great. And I'm not on any medication. And you want to know what he said? Get out of my office. Get out of my office. This
Wow.
is what typical people do when they're bipolar.
Wow.
I went, okay. So now I'm 9 years unmedicated,
Yeah.
very happy, very healthy, sleep well, and on hormones.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a journey.
Yes. And there's a lot to unpack there. I do think, sadly, probably not a lot of women are getting the medical care that they need, or not just women with
Yeah,
hormones, but I think just in
in
general,
general.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the hormone help, menopause, perimenopause, the depression is so, most of the time, I would almost guarantee women are just placed on an antidepressant.
Yeah.
They really are. And because mine was so sudden and so severe, they put you in another category as, you know, bipolar or something. So it really is sad for me that, you know, it's getting better. I think there's so much more education.
I agree. I agree. I feel like in the past 5 years alone, things have shifted dramatically. We're actually using the term perimenopause, right?
Yes.
But before that, who even knew there was this term, perimenopause?
And I mean, 9 years on it, I couldn't be happier, and it's changed my life. It is,
Mm,
I mean, it just, and I still am very careful with my hormone health, because since when you do experience severe depression, you have to be careful. So
yeah.
you want to be on top every 6 months. I get checked. I'm very careful of, you know, my dosage and being on time with it and not forgetting. It's a priority in my life.
Mhm.
And now I'm kind of getting into that next journey of menopause, which will, you know, let's go.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
go.
You
That's
mastered
another
this.
10 years. Yeah.
Although
And
I do, I do feel, so I'm on the other side of it. I
yeah.
am 1 year postmenopausal.
Oh, how do you
Yes.
feel?
Honestly, I feel amazing. So
Good.
I feel incredibly grateful because, like you, I had a lot of, I had a tremendous education. Worked with a functional medicine doctor for, oh my gosh, probably the last 14 years. So
Mhm.
she was the one who told me, This is perimenopause." And it was about 10 years of
Yeah.
perimenopausal, just tracking and charting and symptoms. And so when I was going through that, especially the last couple of years, I think I've had 4 hot flashes. I mean, it's been so
Wow.
easy.
Yes.
But my doctors will say constantly, if there's anything you're experiencing, tell me, because there are so many options. There are so many things that we can do. You do not need to suffer for anything,
I know.
which our mother surely didn't get that. And I think even the women 10 and 15 years ago weren't getting that message.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I have so many friends that are suffering now, but there's also access. Where do I go? There's a fear. You know, I hear it's not
sure.
good for you. And I'm so happy that more education is coming out, that it's actually, it is very safe.
Yeah,
Of course, there's certain people that shouldn't, but that's where you have to talk to your doctor and just really
totally.
be an advocate. I mean, be an advocate for yourself. And I think sometimes we forget, if when we're a mom, we're working, we just, it's like, oh, it's just part of the journey of getting older. No, it's not, you
It's
know,
not.
it
Yeah.
really isn't.
Yeah, and it does take time, and of course it takes effort. There are more specialists. There's a whole group of gynecologists out there who specialize in menopausal and
Oh, yes,
perimenopausal health. So try to find somebody with that, designation. But yeah, it's a game changer.
I know. It really is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. And I'm excited that I, you know, I really believed that I needed to fight. And I'm happy that I have that inner strength, but we all do. We all
Mm,
have that. It's
mm,
just really tapping into saying, I want more. This is not what I want. I don't
yes,
want to be on all this medication and be so tired that I can't walk my kids to school. You know,
yeah.
I want to be alert. I want to be happy. I want to, you know, be healthy. So it's just fighting to get out of that quicksand, which is it's possible.
Yeah, it's totally possible. My brother told me once, he's a dentist, and so he sees a lot
Mhm.
of people come into his office, obviously working on their mouth, but a lot of people have just general health problems. And he has told me so many times, sometimes, Stacey, you just need to start over. If you've had whatever your issue is for 5, 6, 8 years, sometimes you just have to put all of your tests,
Mhm.
all of your doctors, everyone aside, and pretend like you just moved to the area and just
I love that.
start over, because every doctor is going to look at your situation differently. Your psychiatrist is looking at it through the lens of
Yes.
of
Yes.
psychiatric or psychiatry, right?
Well, yeah,
And
it's very true.
and your hormone doctor is looking at it through the lens of functional medicine. So sometimes you just have to start over.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
wasn't the psychiatrist, it wasn't his fault. He didn't have the
No.
education. And 9 years ago, I mean, really didn't have the education. So I don't ever hold anything. I just wish, after telling him my success, but that comes with, maybe
Yeah.
I didn't, ego
Yeah.
is the,
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Whatever. We bless him and move
yeah,
along.
exactly. Yeah.
So what else? So actually, there's so many ways
Yeah.
can take this, but you just said something. The conversation that I love having is you're at this juncture in your life and you just want more. And there's so many
Mm.
women out there who I think feel, and I actually hear this say, I shouldn't want more. Life is pretty good right now. Or, I've worked so hard, I don't want to topple the apple cart.
Yes.
And they feel almost guilty for
Yeah.
wanting more. Can you talk to that? Like, can
Yeah.
you relate to that?
It's hard for me because I look at it, I always say, go for it. If you want more, go for it. I have been a stay-at-home mom. I've had a career. I've started my own company with my husband. I've kind of done it all. And I will say they're all very important pieces to the puzzle, but I wanted more. And I really had to think about, for me, as a mom, as a wife, as a woman, a female, I had to think about, what do I want? And I just went for it. There was no fear. It was, you know what, Danielle, you are at the best time of your life. You have the access to do really fun things and help people. We've always been
Hmm.
helping people
Yeah.
in our professions. I wanted to do more, and I just went for it. And I didn't think about anybody else. I honestly don't, because if I thought about everybody else, it would probably make me pretty depressed because a lot of people put judgment. I just kind of don't think about the outside chatter. I don't, because a lot of people are like, why would she do this? Why are I want to do it. It's not their life, it's my life.
That's a
I'm
gift to not let the outside chatter come in. You
Yeah,
do realize that,
I,
don't you?
I guess I think I'll say it's my superpower. I really
Yeah.
don't think about it. I don't. Because I can't. Because everyone's going to have place judgment. Like I have people, I don't show my kids on social media because
Mhm.
they're private. And people will like say, where are her kids? Like, is she not parenting them? And I'm like, you know what? I think, how about let's flip and say, how cool is it that my kids don't want to be on social media? Like,
Exactly.
let's focus on that. But okay, yeah, I'm not around with my kids. I mean, I just don't care. I don't worry about it. I really don't, because everyone's going to have an opinion. It's what I feel. It
Yeah.
really is. At the end of the day, how do I feel when I look in the mirror? Am I proud of who I am? Am I proud of the mom I am? I mean, the wife, the business owner, all those things.
Have you always felt that way or sort of had that approach, or is this something that has come on later in life?
I would say starting a business changed me. It
Mm.
really did. I never thought I had this kind of like inner strength, inner CEO, like woman. I want to get everything, do everything. It's my first time. This has been like 4 years of this new building a brand, and I have no business experience, so it was kind of one of those, like, I don't know what we're doing, but it just has been fun. It's been really fun. I mean, there's also days where I'm like, okay, I kind of miss the days where I just stay at home and it was a little quieter. But then I'm like, but my mom said it perfect. She said, why can't you have both?
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, when you don't want that, do take off.
Hmm.
You don't have to do that. And
Hmm.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
coming from my mom, who's been a stay-at-home mom forever. She had the best advice. Do
Hmm.
both.
Yeah. There is a way. So
There is a way.
tell everybody what your company is, what you've launched, this, adventure that you and your husband have gone on.
Well, it all started with my health journey. So when I was placed on Ambien right away, of course. And I thought there must be a reason why I'm not sleeping. So I went a deep dive and I found out I was deficient in magnesium. my husband actually he's an RN, and then his dad was a compounding pharmacist. So he knew about like sourcing and all ingredients. And so we started playing around with my magnesium for my sleep when I was in perimenopause. And so once we created the sleep aid, I said, you know what? We really should like this could be a really fun adventure. We had no idea. Like we sat at the table, we're like, okay, what do you want to do? What are your roles? I think we're supposed to have roles and responsibilities. And then he really wanted he loves intermittent fasting and hydration. So he wanted to make his own fun hydration with creatine. So, and everything is about mental health and gut mind connection, and creatine's good for the gut and the mind. So we started with those two products, and then I said, I really want to make collagen protein bars. I can't have dairy. I don't really like pea protein. Why are all these bars not very good? And I just said, it must not be that hard. Well, it was very hard. It was very hard. But we did it. And now we're in over 80 grocery stores. We're Amazon Choice. I just never thought that. I mean, I didn't say I would never thought. I can't believe we're here. How about that?
Not on your bingo card to start a CPG company. No.
No. And so we laughed. And we still, like, we went away this week and we talked about what our goals are as a couple, what our goals are with the business. And my husband and I, we just really work on that balance between being a couple and then married and then family and then business, because the business is a lot.
Yeah. So first of all, did we even say the name of your company? Tell us what the name of your
company
is.
Fuel Forever. So we use ingredients, we fuel with ingredients forever. We don't believe in quick fix, really, and we believe in certain ingredients forever. Magnesium, 60% of people are deficient. Creatine, monohydrate, everybody should be taking it. So we really picked two things, and then collagen for aging. And so we picked the three products that we really stand behind. And that's kind of really our focus.
I didn't know the story behind the name of the company. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you run a business with your husband? Do you have office hours? Do you have this moment where you're like, okay, babe, in the middle of the day, I'm putting on my wife hat, right? And I'm going to ask you a wife question. What does that look like?
Well, today it looked like my husband went to Costco right before the podcast and then decided to unpack in the room where we do the podcast. We just go with it. Every day is a different day. We work from home. We try to check in and say, what are you doing? We both have roles and responsibilities, which is key. We go with our strengths. We always do. My husband, we never really knew, but he has a design, like he does all the design in Adobe. I mean, he's fantastic. And he's an RN sedating people. And he has this gift of creating content, and it's fantastic. And then I found out I love sales. Love it.
Yeah.
And I love going up. I like going in a different direction. Like, I don't know how the rules, but I decided once I learned the rules, I didn't like them. So I decided to do a different one, and they think I'm crazy, but it works. I'm not going to follow what they want, the path they want us to do, because we will not succeed as a small business. So I have to
tell people about that. So if you're not following Danielle on Instagram, you must. She's at Danielle Stanton, and she takes you behind the scenes of what it looks like to launch a consumer packaged good product in this day and age. And let me tell you, you are competing with giant monoliths, absolutely huge companies that have been out there for decades, if not hundreds of years, right? Who literally own the shelves. And I love when you go in and you're like, we're doing a tasting today. Or my favorite is when you say, they want me to do this, but I don't like that rule, so I'm not going to play. So give us an example, so people who may not be familiar with this have a sense of what you're talking about.
I think the best one is it's very hard I feel like when I interview for the jobs to get on the shelves, there's a lot of rules that they place for a person to put their product on the shelf. They you have to pay to get on the shelf. There's ads, spending. I mean, you could walk out at $5,000 and just to go on a shelf. And
Paying
for
a
me,
store to
I'm
get
paying a store.
your
Yes.
product on the shelf. Okay.
I'm not playing that game
Mhm.
because I won't make it. As a company, we will not make it because we won't sell. It's too hard. You go to a grocery store and you look at the protein bars, you see Quest, and you go, oh, I just see that all the time. I'm just going to grab that. I'm in a pinch. It's harder for a new company, a new brand to come out. So we also just decided to do strong demo tastings. Every store we have, we let them taste the bars.
Mhm.
Because I feel like if you're going to spend $4 on a bar at a store, I want you to like it.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've gone to a store and I just, ugh,
Yeah.
throw it away? I want you to like it. So we do taste testing all the time, to the point where it's probably almost too much, but we really need that brand awareness. So I think that sets us apart. I've driven to Santa Barbara to meet managers because I can't get a hold of them.
Mm.
And I just say, meet me in person. And they go, okay. And then I just say, give me a shot.
Mhm.
And I'm not paying. And this is why I'm not paying, because I will give you demos. I will support, I will move product. I will do more than any other company. And I also feel like they need to, we're going to go in this together. It's a partnership. Work with me.
Mhm.
I mean, this is why small businesses don't make it. And they all work with me. I've never had to pay to get on the shelf.
That's awesome.
So I feel like it's working. And I won't stop. I just, if they allow it, if they ask us to pay, maybe depending on the store down the road when we're bigger, but right now it just is it's too hard.
Mm. So you don't have to do this. Like,
No,
we talked a little bit about this, but this is no small feat.
no.
Do you have those days where you're like, wait, why did I sign up to do this?
Yes.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you do?
Well, I just had it like 3 days ago. Our distributor, it's like having a distributor is like going up the mountain and they're just tripping you, throwing rocks at you, holding your backpack and throwing you down. And then you got to get to the top and have a smile on your face. That's
Aren't
how
they supposed to help you? I mean,
yeah,
aren't you in partnership with a distributor?
yeah, you would think that.
Okay.
No, it's not that way. So there's days that it happens every single day that I'm like, okay, what are we doing? And I just take a deep breath and I just say, you know what? Everything is meant to be. And I'm telling you, there's so many things that have happened that I thought was going to happen for the business and didn't. And I just say, you know what? It's okay. Like for instance, Costco. We were on the Costco roadshow. Everything was great. And then they just kind of like ghosted us and we're like, ah, no, it's not going to work out. And at first I could have gone, oh my God, this isn't happening. And I just said, you know what? We're not ready. This is a sign that we're not ready, or it's just not the path. And it sounds cliche, but I had to learn this because before I would have probably freaked out, like, oh my God, why didn't they do this? And question. And now I have a calmness that I just say, it's okay. It's okay. It's just not meant to be. Something else will come up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't afford the anxiety of all of that. It's just not healthy. And it's not going to make it work. It's not, this whole journey is not going to be how I want it to be. So I just go, what's next? Let's find something else. What are we going to go for? And it always ends up happening. Something else, some cool partnership comes up, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe
Validation.
Costco's, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Costco isn't or maybe it's just a timing thing, or maybe they did us a favor. Maybe they know we're small. All these little things that I just don't get stressed out about.
That is also a superpower, by the way. I don't know if you see that, but because not everybody would respond that way. And you're right. If you're worried and pushing against it, it only makes it worse versus to just sit there and say, oh, well, we're redirecting, or
Yeah.
this is just for now. Because
And
you
I
don't
do
know. Yeah.
No, and I do think my husband has really helped me with the calmness, where he's Southern and he's like, it's okay, it's all right. And I'm like, okay. And so I do feel like, we're in Silicon Valley and everything's going so fast. So I do feel like he has that effect where I'm just trying to really practice that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, business is hard, life's hard, being a mom is hard, everything's hard. It's how you go with your day.
Yeah.
You can choose to be like, okay, I can be frustrated, or let's just make, life is short. Let's just have some fun.
Does that sort of, it's all going to work out attitude and mindset, does that spill over into parenting and
Oh, for
showing up in
sure.
life? Yeah.
My kids know that. I know that when they're going through things, it's a journey. They'll be okay as long as I'm open communication with my kids. They tell me everything. My son says 99% of everything.
Which is fair.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
But I let them be who they are.
Mm.
I always have done that. I let them be who they are. And if they're going through something, I don't believe in fear-based parenting. I really believe, having that relationship with them. I feel blessed on how I had my experience with them, because I only have them, 50% of the time, because I am a divorced parent.
Mhm.
I feel blessed that I have that.
Mm. Did that change? Did your parenting style change after your divorce?
It had to, because my kids were 1 and 3 when it was very immediate, quick divorce. And I was going, okay, what do I do? I was stay-at-home mom. My kids were my life. They were my life. And then all of a sudden, they're gone 4 or 5 days. And what do you do? So a lot of times I would have to shut the doors, leave the house, because I didn't hear the crying, or didn't hear the laughter, or didn't hear
Mm.
Mom, I need this. And it was very hard. It was very hard to manage, but I realized I had to find a life outside of them. So my son is a senior now, and people are getting, sad for college. And I'm actually so excited for him. And I'm
Yeah.
excited for me too,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm excited for this next chapter. I'm excited to go visit him in college. It's not the open, it's not the empty nest, it's the open
Yeah.
nest. They always come back. But I just have this, they're my life, but they're not my life.
Yes.
I have a balance.
Yes. I totally understand that. The day I will be sad. My kids just started their freshman year. And if I think about it, I mean, for years I've thought about it because I have twins. So they're going to both go at the
Yes.
same time.
Oh,
And I want them to go, right? This is my job as a parent, to raise them so they go. And of course they're going to come back. I'm never going to not see
mhm.
them, right?
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna, I told my son, I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do vacations and then go see him. That's what I told him. I said, you have to be excited for them. But then I also feel like, as a parent, as a woman, as a wife, there has to be more than just your children.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until did not have them all
Mm.
the time. And I had to fill this, there was a little emptiness with other things.
Hmm.
And it took a long time to find those things that filled me up.
How did you do that? Because a lot of women struggle with that, whether they're in it, where they find themselves in a situation where they're divorced or widowed or something, right? Or they're just like, oh, wow, now they're gone. How did you go about doing that because you're not 20, right? When you're 20,
No,
of course you're dipping your toe
yes.
into all the things.
I mean, the divorce, I was like 35. I started really getting into fitness, and I just started making fitness goals. Like I still love fitness goals. It was never like a body goal. It was like, I wanted to do a pull-up.
Hmm.
So I started getting really into fitness, lifting weights. I also just I would go by myself. I was single. I would just go hit golf balls at the driving range.
Hmm.
I wasn't very good, but I would just go. I just tried to do everything. I know now what I didn't like and what I do. I would do book club. I mean, I just tried everything. And I tried to find the people that I felt comfortable with.
Hmm.
I volunteered a lot. I did Girls on the Run so I tried to do things that I also could see my children more, but volunteer. So I
Hmm.
would volunteer at school and the library, so I could see my daughter for, one extra day that maybe I didn't see her. So I was very strategic in how I did that. And then I just tried everything.
Mm.
And then, of course, I probably did the wrong thing. I traveled probably when too much, when you're going through that, it was like you try to when you're going through a divorce, you just try everything and you
Yeah.
flounder and you do everything wrong, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
It-
there's
you,
no, I mean, it's so, you don't know, every situation's so unique. And my situation was like, this is so hard. How do I get out of this pain and find joy and find a new balance with my children?
when you're in a situation that you've never been in, like parenting or a divorce, there's no playbook. So
No.
what worked for your friend or your five friends or what you find online probably isn't going to work for you. So there is a lot of trial and error and just literally shooting darts, right?
Yes,
And you
for
have to
like
be,
years.
yeah, yeah, with no
And
guarantee,
I
but
say this
also a
too,
guarantee.
like
Go ahead.
yeah, no, that's so true. And I say this like for fitness. People want that quick, like, oh, I'm going to do this 3 week boot camp and everything's going to be great. And I'm like, no, no, no. This takes like, this is a lifestyle. This takes years. And it's the same thing with divorce. It takes years. But I think a lot of times, like, oh, it has only been 6 months. 6 months is nothing. Let's talk in 6 years.
Yeah.
Then let's see. So I always look at this with everything: life, fitness, health. It takes years. Marriage takes years.
Do you
It's not
have
quick.
do you have a spiritual practice or a self-care routine, or do you go to church? Like how do you get through these moments?
I don't, I'm very, I check in all the time with myself, all the time. I have a lot of experience with counseling, going to counseling and also being a counselor, where I know how to check in with myself. And I know if I have a feeling, what does that say? What is going on? How do I dissect that feeling, that emotion? And then I kind of do it in my head. It's like a whiteboard in my head, and I kind of map it out. And I realize it's okay, this is going to happen, or this is kind of what you're feeling. And I just try to go through my head. And we all have that inner, gut, or that, we know we can do it. I just think sometimes we forget that we really have that power, but we pay people. We go to a counselor, or we go, like, go find it within. No one can tell me, like, I can hire a nutritionist, but at the end of the day, like, I know what foods are good for me. I don't
Yeah.
need somebody to tell me. I know what to do. So I think we forget about that inner voice. I really had to learn that through therapy. Like, after my divorce, I went to therapy. Like that was actually probably my biggest joy, is the therapy, finding a fantastic therapist that challenges you, that really can help you. That, I would say, was, and I really learned through my experience that I have to get all the chatter in my
Mhm.
brain and just get it to what's really happening, my
Mm.
truth.
Yeah. I believe that, and I know that to be true. We all have that inner sense. It's probably not practiced for most people, but when you get quiet and you ask, you'll listen. She'll
Mm-hmm.
talk to you. You'll know.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. And I don't know, if how to share with more people that you really have that power.
Mm.
You really do. It's just, you have to believe in yourself. And I think a lot of people don't believe in themselves, and that insecurity or that chatter, what are people going to think? Just, don't worry about that. Just worry about you right now.
Yeah.
Worry
Yeah.
about what you're feeling. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not like saying to be selfish and not worry about other people's feelings, but when you're going through something, a lot of times we try to ask other people. And I think a lot of times, just check in with yourself.
Yeah. Totally. I agree. You touched on this briefly. What's it like making friendships at this juncture in your life? Because I have my experience. I'd love to know what your experience is.
Oh
Like
gosh.
female friendships. Like,
I have a very hard time,
yeah,
very hard time.
I hear you.
It's, I
Yeah,
have a small circle.
yeah.
I would say I could count on my one hand, definitely. And
Mhm.
you would be one of those people that I would
Mm.
trust completely. It's been a hard journey. I think too, going from being a single mom or married, single, married again, and then starting a business, I do feel like I don't know, it's been an interesting experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had to close my circle even more to kind of protect myself, my privacy, be around people that support women doing cool things
Mhm.
like what you do. I mean, the fact that, I mean, we should be supporting each other
Totally.
and not going like, oh my God, can you believe, like, why would she do that? Or like, I just feel like we need to empower each other more. And I don't see that at this age. I don't know. And I don't know. I will say it's definitely a challenge.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Do you have a mentor circle or like a networking group or a mastermind or just other female business owners where you can kind of gather and, swap stories?
Yeah, I do have a lot of friends, business owners that we talk and so I feel, and a lot of them are also my friends that
Hmm.
are in that. So it's kind of an interesting journey because what I have a lot of my married friends and then divorced single moms that I'm still very close with. I connect very strongly. Anytime I meet someone, it's really interesting that a lot of times there'll be a single mom.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this is we're meant to meet.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, and they're working. They're hardworking moms. And so I really connect with them.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a great support a lot, but also again, I go back to I know what I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to trust my gut.
Do you have a process for that? Is it like a morning routine? Is it at night? Is it when you're working out where
Oh
you
God,
check
all
in
the
with?
time. It's
Yeah.
all the time. I think it's all the time. I do work out for my mental health.
Hmm.
I really do. And then the benefit is I did get fit. I lost, weight and I got built muscle and I did all those things. But I will say exercise to me is therapy.
Mm.
It is just, and I know people go, oh, it's not really therapy. I've done therapy. I get that. But it just has just such a great effect on me. It really,
And yeah, I mean, scientifically, that's been proven
yeah,
for
it is.
sure. Yeah.
So it's just for me, that time is non-negotiable no matter what my day
Mm.
looks like. It's that 60 minutes. It doesn't need to be crazy, hard. It can just be weights and, just a nice workout. And just, I'm more about being a little more gentle on my body during perimenopause, menopause. There's this not, my husband's running and rucking and all. I don't want to do that. I just like, I'll go on a nice hike, but I don't want to run anymore. I'm tired. So
And
I,
it's not really in our
no,
body's best interest at this
no,
moment in time, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants me to put the weight vest and go for the run, and then I think like good for you. Go with your all your hormones. You're good.
My husband mountain bikes every day in our
Yeah,
back. There's like these hills and mountains. I'm like, I'm just going to walk the dog for like 4 miles. I'll see you
yeah.
in a little bit,
It's great.
That's
It's so
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
This has been so great. I have loved catching up with you, but most importantly, I've loved sharing your story because you talk about so many things that women in sort of our, so I hate to say this, but like the midlife, can you please
Hmm.
help me find a term that is more friendly or more
A
fun or
next
more
chapter.
sexy? Next chapter? Yeah.
I believe in chapters. I've always thought that. Like I had my chapter married, I had my chapter divorce, I had my chapter with my new husband. That is fantastic. Like I love these chapters. Like I love the chapters, the kids going to college. It's just another fun journey. Um, and it's hard when we're getting older. I mean, yeah, I did like, maybe how I looked when I was 36 more but what am I going to do, at
Yes.
some point? But I think it's just, having fun and just it's just enjoying the next chapter of who you are.
Yeah.
And
Do you
it's
have,
so, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, keep going. You were going to
No,
say
I just
something.
said it's such a cool thing that we have all this wisdom at our age.
Yeah, totally. Wisdom, experience, your intuition, right? Which
Hmm.
is a total superpower.
Huge.
And we're not 22. I mean, think back to your
No.
22-year-old self.
Oh, I didn't even know myself. I didn't even
No.
know. I would never even, I don't even think I could be in the situation. I just didn't have that strength. I didn't have that grit, you know, just like fighting for happiness, fighting for it. I didn't have that.
And the inner peace of, okay, well, Costco wasn't
Yeah.
meant to be, or whatever. This chapter
Yeah.
is over. We're gonna move through it. And it's not toxic positivity, right? Or that you're airy fairing, and it's like you go through some stuff and you shed some tears,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it's going to be okay.
And I think because I've hit rock bottom, I realize how bad certain things can be in life.
Mm.
And that this certain feeling, this emotion, like it's not that bad. Like you're gonna be okay. So I think that's also where I come from, like a place of like, okay, I've been through so much worse, so bad that I'm like, okay, I got through this. Let's just remember this is just really tiny. This is just
Mm.
not, just get through it.
Yeah. It's like a moment. It's a blip. Yeah. Wise words. Total wise words.
Yeah, I mean, the next chapter, I look at menopause as the next chapter,
Mhm.
and I'm excited and I'm prepared because I've been in bioidentical, so I'm prepared. And then it's what I want to do with life and balance of work and marriage and kids, and that's another. So we have the ultimate control of what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you'll deal with it when it comes, right?
Yeah.
You'll address it when it comes. Yeah. I have a couple questions before
Yeah.
you go. Actually, one you sort of answered. What was your favorite age?
My favorite age. I have to say, right now, like I'm 48, almost 49. I like where I'm at everywhere. Like I'm happy. I think there's a calmness about my body. There's a calmness about how I look. I just don't feel that pressure. Maybe I felt like when I was in my 30s.
Mm.
I like it right now. I really
When,
do.
when did that pressure sort of dissipate or dissolve?
I feel like in my 40s, there was like a confidence. I just feel like I knew, like, okay, this is what I have to do. I think when we're younger, it's always about thinner and not eating. I feel it was like all about like not fueling your body. And
Mm.
I felt like the more I fueled my body and the more I got into lifting weights, the more empowered I got. And I felt the strength and I felt strong. Like when I could do my first pull up, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, if I'm ever in a situation I need to get out of something, I can do it. It felt good. I felt strong. I felt empowered. And I
Mm.
didn't have that in my 30s because I think it was a generational how we were raised.
Yeah.
Like, and now I love, like, let's go, let's see how much weight I can lift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really correlates to, it crosses over in my life, how I handle things.
Because you've had to lift a lot of weight,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
metaphorically, in the
Yes.
past 10 years. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
need a vacation.
Yeah. Okay, so last question. When you go on vacation, what is one thing you always pack, you always have in your suitcase that somebody else would be like, that's a little sus. That's weird. Or
Oh,
I never
well,
thought about that.
I mean, I always bring our supplements. I always bring protein powder. I always bring my bar. I always bring sleep. So, and then like bags, like we don't
Mhm.
even take it, like we take it out. That I always bring a water bottle, and because I want to stay consistent.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times when people take supplements, they forget, they take it like, oh, I forgot that. But when you're on vacation, that's just, you should be consistent. So
And 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 more so than ever when you're on vacation
yeah,
because you're sleeping, whatever, some of your habits and patterns are less. So you need that
yes.
support. Yeah.
And I always bring workout clothes. I mean, it's like more the better. Vacation is also time to do exercise because it's part of our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we
Love
just are
that.
always consistent with that.
I love that. Uh, Well,
So,
thank you so much
thank
for being here.
you.
I have loved our chat. I'm certain everybody in the audience will love it too. And where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? Where can they find your bars? Tell us all the
We're
things.
on what's Fuel Forever. We're on fuelforever.com. We're on Amazon, collagen, Fuel Forever collagen bars. We have our fast supplement, sleep, our website. We always give fun goodies when you go to our website. We give free everything and everyone loves it. So I always believe in when you're purchasing something, I want to give a gift back of and trying other bars or trying other flavors. And so we're very generous with that. We always like doing that. And then Danielle and Stanton, if you want to kind of see the journey of me talking about all the joys of having a distributor and getting into grocery stores, it's always fun.
And your bees. We can't forget
Yes,
about your bees.
and my honeybees, which I'm excited because hopefully we'll have honey in the next like month or so that I want to start like making and just doing like reserve where people can try it. So yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of your places in the show notes. And thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you so much. You are
Yes.
the best, and I'm so
Oh my
proud of
gosh.
you. And you just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Hugs and kisses. Talk to
Take
you
care.
soon. Bye.
Bye.